Amen. Wow, there you go. That worked. Believe it or not, I'm here for you guys. That's why I'm here. Yeah? Kind of strange, huh? Who's this Troy guy? Let me tell you a little bit about myself, but before we do that, I want to thank a few people. And the reason why I'm here, Diane Chen, Char Richards, thank you so much. Avery Finch, Principal Janet Wallace is in the house. Thank you. Bye-bye, Mom. There goes my mother. Say goodbye to my mom. She's got to leave. There you go. Love you. Thank you for coming, Mom. Thank you, lovely Linda. Bye-bye. We'll see you after a while. So, I have a team of people here that made it possible for me to come. And you can look at it this way. I mean, check it out. A little bit of music, I talk a little bit, I share a little bit of information, you get out of class for a little while, right? It's not a bad deal. I mean, right? Okay, now I got your attention. I like that. I'm here to share with you some of my personal story and my personal challenges, okay? Through life, through school. I make light of it, but I am a good example of a bad example. And what I mean by that is I was a horrible, horrible student. I'm sorry, Wallace, Janet, but I was. I gotta come clean, okay? But the truth of the matter is, I did not participate in school. Troy Shows Up is a program based on the fact that I've always believed my mantra in life is just show up. And when you show up, things happen, even if you don't want to be there at times. And I've done many things over the years that have attributed to my success, and the things that I've done, and the things that are still happening in my life. And I would imagine all you kids, how many of you kids have a dream, something you're passionate about? Raise your hands. Most of us. I like that. Now check this out. Listen to me, please, okay? Like I said, I didn't do well. My elementary years of school was pretty much a blur. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but I don't remember a lot of my childhood for some reason. And the things that I do remember, maybe I blocked it out, or maybe I need some more therapy sessions. It's a joke, kids. Maybe it's not a joke, maybe it's real. The truth of the matter is, when I got into middle school, that's where things really started to change for me, and that's why you kids are so near and dear to my heart, because the fact of the matter is, when I got into middle school, that's when I started having a lot of trouble, and I started making some bad choices, and hanging around with people that I probably shouldn't have hung around, and these are things that you're going to hear. You know, there's a saying, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Have you kids ever heard that one? No. Okay, so I was hanging around some pretty not so great guys, all based on the fact that I was the ultimate people pleaser. And what I mean by that is I just wanted to be accepted by whoever it was that I was meeting at that time. And so that doesn't say a lot about me for myself. It basically shows you how shallow I am as an individual and unhealthy. And that's pretty much how I lived most of my life. And as I was trying to get through middle school, my parents divorced, and when I got into my freshman year, things really changed after we moved. And I got introduced to smoking pot in middle school. You know, I mean, that kind of strikes a nerve with probably some of you. So check it out. If I was to say, and I would, hang on kids, hang on, I don't want to lose you. But what I want to say is a lot of the things that progressively went downhill for me started at my age with you all. So that's why I was hoping maybe you kids could relate to some of these things I'm sharing. I mean, how many of you kids have made some bad choices with some of the friends that we've hung around, right? We've all got a people pleaser inside of us somewhere. Thank you for sharing your hands. And my story is based on drugs and overcoming addiction and what happened with me after the pot thing. I got introduced to that, and before you know it, I was drinking and I was just making bad choices. And then you fast forward, and by the time I got into my Tesla, the band that you saw me up there with, 1986, December of 86, our first single. That's 30 years ago. You kids, I realize how young you are, but for me at that time, if you do the math, January of 87, we hit the road. By the time we hit the road, and I got done in about November 91, it didn't take long for the wheels to fall off, and I was in treatment. And I discovered this drug called cocaine, which really did me in. And I'm not here to share a bunch of war stories about this, but the fact of the matter is, today, I was sitting on top of the mountain headlining arenas with this band Tesla. It's a multi-platinum band, it's very, very successful, living the dream, selling out in sold out arenas for the first 10 years of the band. We were in arenas. So we've played just seems like over the last 30 years, it seems like I've played just about every arena in America, along with every shed, amphitheater, club, whatever. We've done a lot of playing and a lot of touring. I was miserable. I had everything I wanted, and I didn't know what the problem was. I didn't know the problem was me. I had no clue. I didn't even know I had a drug problem. And I had a friend of mine come up to me and ask me to answer a questionnaire honestly, which was, am I an addict? And I learned at that time that I had a problem, and I checked into a rehab center for about 30 days. And I had a 5-week break off. You guys heard of the band Metallica? Some of you? So I get out, check this out. I get out of rehab, I went in November 21st, November 91. December 21st, I get out. 9 days later, we're playing at the Tokyo Dome, sold out, 55,000 people with Metallica on New Year's. Well, New Year's is always a great time to have a drink and party, and everybody comes together in celebration. Me, just getting out of rehab, the first thing I had to do was find a safe place. So right when I got done playing, I got out of there, and I started my journey on trying to just stay sober and being in an environment that I loved being in, playing music. And that was kind of the start of my journey. Coming up on 20s, that would have been almost 28 years ago. So if I backtrack a little bit, my saving grace for myself, that's why I ask you if you kids have a dream, if you have something you're passionate about, because you can trade whatever bad choices you're making for that passion and that dream that you have, and you can put that time and energy, which is good and positive, into something positive. My drums, I was 10 years old, and I had some friends of mine down the street. They brought me into their garage, and they said, "Hey Troy, we got a surprise for you," because they knew I wanted to play drums. I had never touched a drum in my life. And I walked into this garage, and they had a snare drum. They had a snare drum in there. And I remember walking in, and they handed me a pair of spoons. And what I did is, they were standing around the drum, a couple of us, and I just grabbed the spoons, and I remember doing exactly this. And you kids probably never heard this before, but back in the day, when I was young, there was a song called Wipeout. And maybe you recognize this drum pattern, but this is how it went. Probably doesn't sound familiar to you. Some of us, yes. Miss Wallace, she knows. And I remember these guys just lighting up like a Christmas tree. And I kind of lit up too, not even knowing. I had heard it so much on the radio that I just played it. So I'm totally self-taught as a drummer. I play a lot of music, I record a lot of records, and I get to live this crazy rock and roll dream lifestyle with a band, by the way, who's not had an ounce of alcohol or a drug on a Tesla tour since '04. Thank you. And I say that, it's just, you know, this is so new to me getting out here. Last year I wasn't doing this. This happened last August. I was asked to speak at a school. I showed up, I did it, I documented it. We're documenting this, and we're going to be sharing some of this information on our website. But the point of me being here is to collect data, to learn from you kids what it is I need to talk about while I'm up here, to learn more about you, because really this isn't about me, this is about you. And it truly is. I mean, I've had an amazing, full life. And as I see my daughter, who's 16 years old, who I spoke to this morning, who was just about in tears, she lives in New York, and she called me this morning, like 5:30 in the morning, my phone's ringing, and I picked it up, and I was tired, I was out, because we were here yesterday setting everything up. So I pick up the phone, I said, hey, what's going on? She goes, you sleeping? I'm going, well, yeah. And so I talked to her, I go, everything okay? Yeah, everything's okay. So I couldn't go back to sleep. I called her back about 20 minutes later. I said, what's going on, Skylar? She said, I don't want to go to school today. I said, you don't want to go to school? What's going on? Well, I just, you know, she's got a bunch of reptiles and animals, and she's got a job at a pet store, and she's doing fantastic. And she said one of her animals were sick, and she wanted to take it to the vet. And she didn't want to go to school, and her mom was saying, no, you got to go to school, or I'm not going to take you to the vet. And I said, okay. I said, I get that, Skylar. She goes, well, I really don't want to go to school because there's these 3 kids, and they've been bullying on me and picking on me, and you know, I'm not afraid of them, but you know, I just don't want to go to school. And I said, this is where things get real challenging me, because I was thinking about me coming here today, and I'm thinking, how do I talk to my daughter who's 16, and what do you say to a situation like that she's got to go back to school, she's got to deal with this personal situation, just like all you kids might have a story somewhere that might be related to or a little different, but maybe you could relate a little bit, you know, because there's so much cyberbullying going on with social media and the things that are happening. And all I could do was try to put myself in her shoes, and then I was trying to think of how I could give her some good fatherly advice, you know. I said, have these kids hit you? Have they tried to hit you? She says, no. I said, so they've been coming around for how long now? They've been coming around for a while doing this. I said, well, look, if anything was going to happen, it probably would have already happened. You know, since nothing's happened, what are you doing? She goes, I just ignore them. I said, well, you're doing the right thing. I said, that's exactly what you should do. Just ignore the person and just get on with it and avoid confrontation. How many kids have been in a situation of confrontation? How many of you kids? A lot of hands. Yeah. And what is the best solution in a situation like that is probably to just avoid it, correct? Because once you engage, she made a mistake, by the way. Let me share with you real quick. She did tell me, well, last year, Dad, this happened, and she says, it was on social media that happened last year. She says, but she responded to something in a text. And I said, that's okay, but she hasn't done that since. But the problem never went away. See, the second you see something with a friend or somebody's, you know, being disrespectful or saying mean and hurtful things to somebody, the second you chime in, you open yourself up to that. And that person might come after you. You just don't know what the situation is. So I am learning more through all of you and my daughter about what it is and why I'm here and what it is I have to share. You know, my story with drugs and alcohol, that wasn't the problem, in my opinion. When I look back, it was the choices and the people pleasing those bad choices that I was making because I wanted you to like me. I wanted to be accepted into the club. Whatever club you were in, I just wanted to be in it and a part of it. How many of you can relate to that? Thank you it's very courageous. Thank you. And I think we all got a people pleaser inside of us, you know. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm just somebody that, look, man, we can hang out, we can play some drums, you kids want to talk, whatever it is, I'd like to be able to think that I'm that guy. I'm not sitting up here as some rock star drummer and that's what I do. That's not who I am. I know who I am all these years later because I've been sober long enough, and I know the choices I have made and taking the high road in just about every situation and checking my motives and what it is I'm doing. I had no clue. You kids are getting ready to move into high school. You're going to probably be here for your high school years. But see, we moved out. When we were from middle school, we went to another school for high school. But you kids will stay here, correct? No? Some. Okay. So the kids that won't be here, when you go into another school and then you're overwhelmed by all these new people, you know, and you might not think about it today, but you might look back when you're in there and you might see something and there's a friend or somebody and you just, that people pleaser, it's like, maybe it's not even the best friend you should have, maybe not, but it might be a situation where maybe my voice will echo in the back of your head. 6 years from now, next year, whatever it might be, but when those things, think about it, and you take the time to think about the choice that you're making, because we all have opportunities, and even with the best of opportunities, we can make bad choices and do things for the wrong reasons. I'm only here to share with you, to give you something to kind of think about, you know, as you're moving forward, you know. Wow, it's very quiet. You kids are amazing, man. I came through this school, by the way. Diane took me through here. The first time I came through this school, I walked through the hallways. All you kids were happy, making high-fiving each other, walking down the hallway. I seen all this crazy, great energy, and I thought, man, I'm going to be so excited to speak to these kids and just feel the energy of the room. It's interesting with the older kids in here earlier. The kids were going crazy. I thought you kids would have been the guys going nuts and standing up and having a good time and dancing, but you're all a little bit more reserved, you know. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But this thing right here, I say passion versus education sometimes. Sometimes it trumps education. If you got something you're really passionate about, I figured out that as long as I have these drums have taken me around the world, I don't know how many times. I'm getting ready to go to Europe in June. I'll be in Canada with the band Def Leppard. It's a rock and roll band. Some of you might have heard of that band. We're going to be out with them in July. And but I know you kids know who, like Bruno Mars, Jackson 5. I watch the kids light up like a Christmas tree, you know, when that stuff comes on. But what's so cool about music, how many of you kids like to play music or enjoy music? Most of you? Awesome. I tell you, it's a great, great outlet. You know, there's so many wonderful kids programs out there. How about academic sports and such? Baseball, and football. Those are great. And you know what? Even the best of all of us. Because see, all those sports people, Bruno Mars and all of us out here, we're all created equal. There's nothing different about any one of us. And it all started with the dream. And how many of your heroes have you seen that have suffered, went through an addiction, or died? You know, I'm getting phone calls. I guess that's a little heavy. We don't have to get into all of that, but I guess I'm just wanting to press upon you to just kind of think about things. Never give up. If you have a dream inside of you, you know, keep that dream alive, because I have watched so many people put their dream on a shelf and not persevere and move forward and regret it over the years because they never really took a chance. There's nothing easy about some of the choices and the things we have to do when it comes to trying to be successful, you know. And I don't want all of you to fall asleep, so I guess I'll cut it short. But I just encourage you to just think about the choices you're making. Think about what I have to say here today. Follow your dreams. Never give up. Ever give up, because one day at a time. That's all it is. Some days I feel like giving up, and the next day I wake up and I'm in a little better place, and I kind of hit it again. So whatever problems you might be going through, just know, first of all, people care. All right? So I guess with that, we'll just let it go at that. Thank you for having me today. I have a microphone. If there's any questions